Hi, this is Ellie for Transforming Together. So glad we're back together. I was sick last week. I know there is stuff going around in this winter, so I hope you are feeling good. And as you are, let's turn together to Second Chronicles 9. As we do, we'd like to welcome those who are joining us from Honduras and South Korea. We like to always welcome our growing family, whether it be on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Transforming Together, the blog spot. You are always welcome. In Second Chronicles 9, let's ask the Spirit of God to teach us today as we look at verse 9 and verse 12. Let's do so together. The Queen of Sheba gave the King Solomon a gift of 9,000 pounds of gold, great quantities of spices and precious jewels. Never before had there been spices as fine as those the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. King Solomon gave the Queen of Sheba whatever she asked for, gifts of greater value than the gifts she had given him. And we'll pause in our reading there. Gifts of greater value than she had given him. The topic today we'd like to briefly talk about is generosity. It is wonderful to be in a relationship, in a family where there is give and take, not only in the material aspect, but in the psychological, emotional, spiritual aspect, the social aspects of giving and taking. So, a few questions I would like you to ask yourself are: first of all, basic one, basically a giver or a taker? There are those of us who like to give. There are those of us who like to take. So let's first of all identify who we are. And within that that realm, ask ourselves another question. Within that, how generous am I? How generous am I in giving? How generous am I in developing the part of giving? And then the third one is, what has greater value to me than money? You see, in this context, in Second Chronicles 9, we were talking about money, and it was interesting in verse 12 that it is noted that that Solomon gave the Queen of Sheba gifts of greater value than the gifts she had given him. So it was this idea of giving more, giving better, not in a competition way, but in a value way, in a generous way, and having a generous spirit. You see, as we build a house on wisdom, which is having God's perspective of life, we have foundations of security and stability. And out of that, then people have an opportunity to grow and to develop and to experience new things that they would not be able to experience in an unsafe environment. We are developing a safe environment for ourselves, for our spouses, for our children. And in doing so, we want to be generous in that. We want to have a realm of generosity. So ask yourself these questions. First of all, am I a giver or a taker? Second, how generous of a person are you? And third, what has greater value to you than mere money? And fourth, how is your family benefiting from your generosity? From your generosity of kindness, from your generosity of time, from your generosity of approval. So these are things for you and I to consider today as we are transforming together in Jesus Christ.